Ooh, the time has come for us to rate Shadow Legendary Pokemon in Pokemon GO. It's not a sponsored video, guys. I'm not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, okay? But yeah, today we'll be talking about the new Shadow Raids in Pokemon GO that are coming up, and I'm very excited for it. Alright, so hi to all of you guys! So let me go ahead and bring my screen and check out the news. There is no information for me. Yep. Not too sure why, but it's okay. Let's go ahead to go to Pokemon GO Live, and you guys can see there are two brand new news that has just came out. Shadow Raids are coming to Pokemon GO! And we can finally raid Shadow Legendary Pokemon, and that's going to be Mewtwo. Yes. Shadow Mewtwo with the first Shadow Legendary Pokemon available, and there are some details about it. Of course, I'm pretty sure you guys have already read details about it, but I'd like to give you guys my 2 Pokecoins worth of details and some interesting information that I even think could possibly happen. So, it said over here, trainers, Team Go Rocket's back, and they're up to some big trouble. They are always back with some big trouble. But when is Melf Balloon coming back, though, with Jesse and James? Alright, in their newest scheme, Team Go Rocket plans to take over gyms with hordes of Shadow Pokemon. Hang on one second. Sorry, that was a phone call. Thankfully, we know our heroic trainers will step up to face this challenge. Get ready for Shadow Raids! Okay. Team Go Rocket will launch their plans during the Rising Shadows event starting May 22nd, 2023. Read on to learn more about Shadow Raids, Shadow Raid bosses, and how you can stop Team Go Rocket in their tracks. So Team Go Rocket's coming to town, and you guys can see over there in the picture, yeah, Mewtwo is on the raid. Oh my god, and it looks to be a 5-star raid. Alright, not a 6-star, I mean that'll be even crazier. So with the new mechanics, they say that Team Go Rocket's machineries have led them to have their latest and greatest plan take over gyms with Shadow Pokemon. In Shadow Raids, trainers can take on powerful Shadow Raid bosses and have the chance to catch new Pokemon partners if they can successfully defeat the Shadow Raid boss. That is, trainers can gather their friends for a better chance at a victory in Shadow Raids. Okay, so the thing is, note here, the thing that we really need to note is that trainers cannot join Shadow Raids using remote raid passes, and Shadow Raids do not reward a team bonus for Premier Board. Well, I mean, clearly, I actually knew that the remote raid passes would definitely not be allowed to be used in Shadow Raids. Because to me, you'll be really broken if you can actually remote for the Shadow Raids, because we can't even remote for any Team Go Rocket grants, leaders, or even Giovanni at all, unless you're talking about the every 6 hours Team Go Rocket balloon that comes to us, which is technically not remote, but they come to us instead. Alright, so a Shadow Raid strength. At gyms hosting Shadow Raids, you will find that Team Go Rocket has placed especially powerful Shadow Pokemon as raid bosses. 3 and 5-star Shadow Raid bosses will grow enraged as you battle them, boosting their attack and defense. So over time, I believe once you take their health down to a certain level, I guess either that or over time, maybe after like 30 seconds or so, I'm estimating, I'm still not sure, we're all not sure about the information yet, and then it will become stronger with their attack and defense going up. So continue to hold your ground and weaken the Shadow Raid bosses to subdue them. So there's this thing called the Power of Purification, where you can subdue the Shadow Raid bosses using Purified Gems, a new item that you can assemble from Shadow Shards, which then, after that, you have to obtain them from the Team Go Rocket and gather enough to use the Professor Willow's newly invented Shard Refiner. You'll be awarded with a Purified Gem. So there are multiple ways Purified Gems can assist your battle against the enriched Shadow Raid bosses. When you use the Purified Gem during a Shadow Raid, the enriched Shadow Raid boss attack and defense will be lowered temporarily. This will give you the opening you need. So the thing is, you can use multiple ones and you can stack with your other friends. But I'm thinking maybe we all should not be using it all at once, otherwise the raid boss will become too easy to take down. Eventually, when you go to the next one and you do not have enough purified gems to actually use them on, you might have a problem to take down the next raid boss, if you know what I mean. Alright, so that is that for the Shadow Raids information. Now, yes, it's time to raid Shadow Legendary Pokemon, and that is Shadow Mewtwo. Shadow Mewtwo is going to be the first Shadow Legendary Pokemon available in Shadow Raids, and that is a very exciting one. However, I do feel that Niantic could have brought back, first of all, the 3 legendary birds. They could have put all 3 of the legendary birds, Moltres, Articuno, and also Zapdos, as the starting Shadow Raid bosses, because Mewtwo was technically the one of the recent rewards that we could get from Giovanni. And yes, it is very enticing, yes, I must say, but also the birds are something that people want to get. And also, it'd be nice to spice things up by giving us a chance to get more of the birds also. Alright, so can you face the shadows? Trainers, okay, blah, 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 blah. So, Rising Shadows. So, take note. You guys must take note of this. Very, very important. The Rising Shadows event is from the 22nd of May, 10 a.m. local time, to 28th of May, 8 p.m. local time. Alright. So, now, it says over here, Shadow Raids debut. Shadow Mewtwo will return to Pokemon GO in Shadow Raids. Also, for the first time in Pokemon GO, you will be able to encounter Shiny Shadow Mewtwo if you are lucky. We do not know what the rates are. Might be 1 in 50, might be 1 in 20, but I'm guessing it's 1 in 20. Also, another thing that we do not know what's the minimum IV from doing all these raids. Usually from raids, the minimum IV is 10, 10, 10. 1 in 216 chance to be a hundo. But in this situation, if it's really 1 in 216 chance to be a hundo, actually it's really, really sick. I wouldn't say it's super broken or anything, but I mean, when we actually do encounter the regular Shadow Mewtwo, not the one from the event one, it's 1 in, I do not know what's the chance, but it's the minimum IV is 666 instead. So it'll be very, very sick if it's, 10, 10, 10. Alright, so the Shadow Mewtwo, now take note of this, yeah, don't get confused. Shadow Mewtwo will appear in 5-star raids from May 27th, 10 a.m. to the 28th of May, 8 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. Alright, so I guess it'll be available on Saturday till 9:30 p.m. then your last raid ends. And then on Sunday, it will be available until 8 p.m. Essentially giving us about almost 20-ish hours to actually raid it. So don't get confused that it's available for the entire week. No, it's not available from 22nd of May. It only would start from 27th of May. Okay. So, like I said, if you're lucky, you get a shiny. So these are the available Shadow Raid Pokemon, and these are the ones that will be available from the start of the event, 22nd of May to 28th of May, 8 p.m. Ends the same time as the Mewtwo. Alright, and then they were saying that from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturday, they'll spike the number of Team Go Rocket activity taking over raids, which then probably the number of Shadow Mewtwo raids available will not be that great also, since they're going to boost all these 8 Shadow Pokemons available. So 1 star you have Shadow Poliwag, Shadow Machop, Shadow Bellsprout, and Shadow Beldum. 3 stars you have Shadow Bayleaf, Shadow Quilava, Shadow Croconaw, and also Shadow Sneasel. Among all these, the ones that I feel are the most useful ones are Shadow Beldum as being number 1. Okay, number 1, your most important one to go after. Second is Shadow Sneasel. Alright, the reason for those is because Shadow Beldum, Shadow Metagross is the number 1 Steel type attacker in the entire game. Following up with number 2, Shadow Sneasel, Shadow Weavile is technically the number 1 Dark type Pokemon right now. Until in the future when we get Shadow Hydreigon, Shadow Dino, and even Shadow Zoroark. Those two will then take over as Dark type attackers, and also Shadow Weavile is technically one of the very strong Ice type attackers. So number 3 will either be Shadow Machop or Shadow Bellsprout. Yes, it is still a very good Pokemon. Alright, Shadow Machop is still the number 1 Shadow fighting type Pokemon. In certain situations, the Rakion is better. As for Shadow Bellsprout, Shadow Victreebel is one of the top poison type Pokemon if you do not have Nihiligo. Alright, so all the rest is like optional to go after. Alright, one more thing to take note though, that all these Pokemon, including the Mewtwo, the Shadow Mewtwo, I guess they will all have frustration on them. So what I would suggest you guys to do is to keep them, especially if you get yourself a good IV one, wait till a frustration event to come, then you can remove frustration. It's not mentioned over here that you can TM away frustration, and I reckon you will get frustration on them to make you more frustrated, and you have to wait for an event to TM them away, and then eventually you can get their moveset, especially for the Metagross to get Meteor Mash. Alright, so that's probably one thing to take note of also. I probably will be fighting just those that I need, or maybe I'll just do a video to work on them. So these are the regular rates, and they all have the shiny available. Oh, one more thing also though, those that already have the shiny available, like the Poliwag, Machop, and even Beldum, the shinies are also available, right? Since they were available last time from the leaders also. So for 5-star rates is Regigigas and Tapu Fini, and also Mega rates is Mega Pinsir and also Mega Altaria. Alright, so WoW encounters, those are the ones. None of them really worth talking about. If you need the Candy XL for Houndoom, Dao is available in the WoW to catch. As for Hisuian Quilava, yes, I do catch that. It's technically gonna be the top 3 poison type Pokemon as the shadow form in the future. Also Scraggy, of course, if you want to get one for the Ultra League, you need the XL Candy to power it up to the Ultra League level. Alright, so it's stated over here, event bonus, Team Go Rocket will be appearing more frequently at Pokestops and in balloons. Remember, it's stated over there, they never say that you can remove away frustration, so you have to keep it, and then eventually you have to remove away frustration. I'm guessing you will get the more frustration, otherwise, yeah, it'll be quite interesting also that we can get the move with whatever move like Ice Beam Mewtwo and Flamethrower Mewtwo immediately without needing to remove frustration, which to me is also quite weird if you ask me, because usually when we get the shadow Pokemon, they always will have the move frustration. Hopefully they don't use frustration. Actually, hopefully they do use frustration on us though, although that's not gonna happen because it does not happen when you fight Giovanni or fight the leaders or grunts. They do not use frustration at all, but when you catch them, yes, they will have frustration. That's the frustrating thing about a shadow Pokemon. So for field research, you get more chance to get a mysterious component and Stardust. As for the seasonal special research for the Master Ball, it will be available, but I would not recommend using it unless maybe you encounter the Hundo Shadow Mewtwo. Alright, as of now, we ain't even sure whether the shiny shadow is gonna be 100% catch rate like usually we would encounter from a shiny legendary Pokemon. So we still have to wait and see how, but I'll update you guys once we actually do play it and get more information, more accurate information on them. Alright, so that is all that I have to talk to you guys about in terms of the shadow rates that are coming. I'm very, very excited for this, and like I said, I did mention in the previous video that shadow rates will come in the future, and I understand that Niantic has been getting hit really, really hard in terms of the remote raid passes changes, but this is the reason why they also decided to take this step in terms of reducing the number of remote raids that we can do, is because they want people to slowly get out there, and eventually when a raid like this happens, a feature like this happens, people are already inclined to going out to play the game in person, and eventually when this kind of event comes, they will be kind of okay to go out even more. Of course, I do understand that there are people who are living in really, really rural areas or even do not have anybody to play Pokemon Go with. I truly understand, and it's really, really unfortunate that's how it is like for some people, and I truly apologize. Though, to be honest, there's nothing I as a player can do. I'm not the developer, I'm not sponsored by Niantic, I do not have any contact with Niantic or whatsoever. But I just wish everyone else all the best and to have fun playing this event. I certainly will be going back to Cebu City, where where Princess is from, to actually play with the community over there. Alright, see you there, Lucas. Good luck. We're gonna walk a lot. Maybe, we'll see how. Yeah, so in the future, who knows? Maybe Niantic will allow us to remote these shadow raids. In the future, how long into the future, I'm not sure. But hopefully that could possibly happen, and they will give a chance to those people who really, really cannot find anybody to raid with, and even have a chance to take down the raid boss because they do not have anybody to play the game with, to actually get themselves this shadow raids Pokemon. Alright, no raid Shadow Legends, guys. It's not a sponsored video, okay? Yeah, it's not a sponsored video. Alright, so I'll see you guys in the next episode in the next video. Alright, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.